Hey guys, welcome back to the garage today. Today we're just going to do a quick video for every motorcycle owner out there. What we're going to show you is just some quick maintenance checks that you can do on your bike before you ride, once a week, once a month. This stuff is just the basic stuff you need to be keeping track of on a motorcycle. Having a shop, I know that so many people neglect to do these things, which leads to more expensive fixes in their bikes. So these are something you can do. 5 minutes. Takes you 5 minutes to check all of this stuff, and it will save you hundreds of dollars in the future, whether it be on chain and sprockets or brake rotors, brake pads, tires, all that stuff. So if you can just handle doing a little bit of checks on your bike without taking it to the mechanic, this will make it a lot easier for you. And a lot of this stuff is covered in maintenance manuals to do on like bigger services, whether it be a 7,500 mile service, a 10,000, whatever it is for your bike. But this stuff can be checked really easily more often. So we're going to just show you a few things. These are things I check on pretty much every bike that comes in here, just as safety precautions for the owner of the bike. So the first thing that we're going to look at is we're going to look at the clutch free play. Now, this is really easy to check. So you want to make sure your bike has free play in your clutch lever. I'm not squeezing the lever. I'm just wiggling it with my fingers. This bike actually has just about perfect free play on it. So if you see the gap right here, this gap is your free play. So some manufacturers recommend a measuring from the end of the lever to where it goes in and out. My method is just make sure that you can fit a key or two right in here. So you want to have that much free play in your bike. Now, if you need to get free play, every bike's a little bit different, but you're going to have an adjuster right here. And if you need to adjust it, just screw it in to give yourself more free play or screw it out to tighten the free play. So this is super easy to do. It'll prevent you from wearing out your clutch prematurely. So this one's a big one. Really easy to check anytime you're on the bike. The next thing I like to check is just look at your fork tubes. Now on this one, there's no oil on it, which means it's not leaking. So if you see oil on here, you're going to want to get your fork seals changed. Most motorcycle shops will do it for a very fair price. Seals, oil, all of that. So that's one thing. The next thing, tire pressures. Tire gauge, very cheap. Just go in there, take off your stem cap and check your tire pressure. Most bikes are going to have a tire pressure listed on the rear swing arm. Some bikes will have different places for this label, but most bikes are going to be located right here. So just go through your read over it. This one recommends 36 psi in the front and 42 in the rear. So if we were to fill the tires up, we make sure we have 32 in the front, 36 in the front, and 42 in the rear. So that's another really easy thing you can check to make sure that your bike has the proper amount of air in it. You get the maximum life out of your tires and your bike handles the way it should. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to just check the chain slack. We just did the chain and sprockets. If you watched our video of putting the master link in, it was on this bike. But you're going to want to check your chain slack. Again, you have a label right here, which tells you exactly how much chain slack you should have. This one's going to be 30 millimeters. So when you check it, you're going to go to the bottom of the chain and you're going to go right in the middle and you're just going to pull up and down on it. So this one's just about 30 millimeters. Every bike's going to be a little bit different, but most bikes, most sport bikes are going to be between 25 and 35 millimeters. Now there are variations for that, but 25 to 35 millimeters is a great amount of slack on a motorcycle chain. This is going to prevent you from having to get new chains and new sprockets regularly. So make sure you lube your chain and check your adjustment. Lubing the chain, same thing. You're going to get a can of chain lube. And all you have to do, you don't even need anybody to help you with it. You're just going to go to the bottom of the chain and you can just go in here and just spray the chain with the chain lube. Then you can roll it back 3 feet and you can continue the process for the rest of the chain. So, two super easy things to do on the chain. The next thing is checking your brake pads. So, if you look at this brake pad, you have a metal part right here and you have the meat of your pad right here. So you can see there's a little step right there. So this is your pad, this is the metal. You want to make sure you don't go past this wear marker. This is your wear marker, this little slot down the middle. And if you see, when you get close to the metal, the wear marker disappears, and then you're left with just the metal. So what you can do for this is grab a flashlight, which most of you have on your phone, and you're just going to look down at the front calipers. It might be hard to see on the camera, but you can see in there, you can see that he still does have plenty of brake pad. So you can go through your bike and check each side, the front and the rear, and make sure that you have brake pads. This will prevent you from having to buy rotors. Rotors are not cheap. They range anywhere from $200 to $600. So super easy to check it and prevent yourself from having a really expensive fix. So the next thing that we're going to do is go over to the other side of the bike. And on this bike, we're going to just check the oil. Some bikes are going to have a dipstick. In our case, our dipstick is right here. So we would use a dipstick on this bike. And we would just check our oil. This one's got a lot of threads on it. So this one has a dipstick. So on this dipstick, if you have a dipstick, you're going to have a low mark and a high mark. And you want to make sure you're between those two marks. So we'll stick it back in there. And we'll pull it back out. And we'll check. He's a little bit above the mark. That's fine. I didn't change the oil on this, but I would want to be between those two marks. Now, on other bikes, you're going to have a glass window on this side of the bike. You might see it on the other side of the bike, but for the most part, you're going to have a glass window. This one has a dipstick. Other bikes will have a glass window. Now, if you have a glass window, there's going to be a little circle. You can see the oil through it. You're going to have a low mark, and you're going to have a high mark. And you just want to be between those two marks. Glass windows are my favorite bikes to check oil on. You don't have to unscrew a dipstick. All you have to do is just make sure your bike is standing straight up and down. So that's the key when you're checking your oil. Your bike is straight up and down. So have a friend hold it. Use one hand to hold it while you look at the glass sight. So definitely check your oil. That is the biggest thing on a motorcycle. It's like the blood in your body, water in your body, whichever one you want to call it. If you don't have oil, you're going to have a very, very expensive fix. So check your oil. Super easy. The next thing you can do is just check your brake fluids. Most of the rear reservoirs are located right here. You can see his is at the upper level. Just check it. Make sure you have brake fluid in there. You go up to the front. Some bikes are different and have the master reservoir right here. This one's got it right here. Again, he's got plenty of brake fluid in there. Check your brakes. Make sure they work. Super easy. So those are just a couple of things. The next thing I like to do is check the electronics on the bike. So to check your electronics, all you got to do is turn your key on. You're going to check your signal here. You're going to check your signal here. You can go ahead up to the front and check the signals in the front and make sure everything's working. So these ones are working. You can check your horn. You can check your high beams and your low beams. Make sure those are working. And the last thing you can do is check your brake lights. So when you squeeze the brake, your brake light should illuminate. And then if you go down to the rear brake, it should illuminate. So those are super easy things to check on your bike to make sure that you have everything working in proper order for you. So these are just really easy. As you can see, it literally took 5 minutes or less to check all of these things. And these are great, easy things that if you have no mechanical experience whatsoever, that you can easily check to prevent yourself from having big fixes in the future. So thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out our website, share this with your friends, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks.